There is something about West Texas dirt. You can leave and move far away, but it never leaves you. I traveled back to the May family farm near Highway 84 between Roscoe and Snyder back in November for a special reason. This is a land where my great-grandfather started farming in the early 20th century, and my grandfather, Raymond May, spent most of his life farming and ranching for 50 years. He and my grandmother, Annette, raised their children, Donald, Joe, and Ramona, here. The main farm crop has always been cotton, but today big windmills also generate electricity, contrasting with some old-fashioned windmills that once pumped water. Other crops that have grown in this land include grains such as wheat or grain sorghum for cattle feed, also called milo. Cattle and other livestock have also been raised here over the years. My father grew up on this land in an old farmhouse that was moved away. There was no electricity until after he started school in nearby Pyron, and ruins of the building remain. There was a story that my father once accidentally drained the school water tank and classes were dismissed early. When the Pyron school closed after his first grade year, young Donald went to school in nearby Hermleigh through high school. He was a tall kid and loved playing football for the Hermleigh Cardinals, where he was a lineman. My father learned about farming and ranching early in his life, and times were often tough. In fact, during the Great Drought of the 1950s, my father took over farming duties, while my grandfather worked as a carpenter. This is a new farmhouse that has been around since the early 1960s. It looks weather-beaten now, but it has stories to tell. After Donald and his sister Ramona grew up and moved away, the farmhouse often hosted family reunions with their children. My grandmother Annette made the house inviting with a big flower garden. My grandfather was quite a character, with a cowboy hat or a John Deere cap usually on his head. The grandchildren, including my cousins, my brothers, and me, found the place magical, with big tractors and little tractors of all sizes. Cows and livestock made the farm feel like a zoo. Here is my grandfather taking me on my first lawn tractor ride. As we grew older, lawn tractors were especially fun. My father attended Texas Tech with a degree in mathematics and worked more than 30 years as an engineer for defense contractors. My father and mother had 3 boys. After my father's first marriage, he wed Linda, who had 3 boys of her own. We lived in Garland, a Dallas suburb, when he announced we were moving back to the farm. So, in the late 1970s and early 1980s, Donald became a farmer again for 6 years before moving back to the big city. My father had a long life, but when I had conversations with him, it was often memories about the farm. Before he died in July 2021, he told me that he wanted his ashes to be buried at the side of his old farmhouse bedroom where he looked out the window every morning as a child. So I traveled back to the West Texas farm in November with my sons Jordan and Mason. We met my brother Jeff and his grandson Chase. Then we followed my father's wishes. Donald Joe May is back home where he began. If you ever travel between Roscoe and Snyder on US Highway 84, just say hello.